In that regard, I would say, please, Russ, if you were out there, give Matt and Darren the resources they need as quickly as possible yesterday to be able to get this done. And I think the community deserves it. And if you put that foot forward, I think the community will as well. And I want these guys to be successful, and they're working their butts off. So let's have that happen. I think, Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here, and we're going to be talking about the patch notes that was dropped on our doorstep earlier today by Matt Newman over on the MWO website. And this is really the first time we've seen patch notes for quite some time, albeit probably around, I think it's fair to say, 3 years. I won't count the cadet change that happened recently, moving them from tier 3 to tier 5. Let's just say that was just a quality of life thing that I think we're all glad happened. But let's go ahead and talk about the details of this patch and what you guys should expect from this. I'll give, of course, my opinions on this or that, but I feel like let's go ahead and dive in. It feels good to have something to talk about. So, of course, this is going to be happening next Tuesday on the 16th at 10 a.m. PST, and that is 1 p.m. Eastern. Usually downtime lasts from like an hour to 2, and albeit this one isn't very large, I don't suspect it's going to take very long. I would probably guess half an hour, but maybe they keep it down just to do some server maintenance. I don't really know, but it's a typical Tuesday patch. Expect 1 to 2 hours at max. All right, the first thing we have up on the list is Greetings, Mechwarriors. Although it's not the largest patch in terms of looking back at the patch history of Mechwarrior Online, it is a big step forward to the future of MWO. It is a return of regular MWO patches. It is the return of MWO development. It is the return of a dedicated, growing MWO dev team. And for those of us already on the team, it is the return to a game and community that we all love. To all of you who have already contributed to the discussion on the forums and elsewhere, thank you. These are the beginnings of the results of your efforts. As we continue to move forward on the MWO roadmap for 2021, the patches will grow in significance, and so will the need for your input. For those that are interested but haven't contributed yet, there's no better time to start. We have a lot of work to do this year, and the sooner you get involved, the more impact you can have. Let's do this. Sincerely, the Mechwarrior Online team. Now, let me go ahead and break down a little bit there. A little bit of history here. Back in podcast 204 is really when this initiative started, and that was last year with Darren entering the community manager position over at Piranha Games. Russ, Darren, and Matt were on the podcast to basically say a reinitializing of development in MWO. Now, what has happened since then? We've had multiple discussions on podcasts. We've also had a town hall. We've had the community's feedback on priority of items. PGI then responded, posted up a roadmap of prioritization in order from Q1 to Q4. We just got that not too long ago. It breaks down basically a general list of items in a general list of priority and or order, but it's all subject to shift. Now that's according to the words we got from Darren himself and Matt Newman, that some of those things will shift depending on the prioritization when they have an engineer take a look at the system and say, can this be done sooner, later, or what? And of course, that is going to be a dynamic roadmap. So that's really cool. Outside of that, we've also heard is that as far as the team is concerned, right now it was only Darren and Matt. The changes that we're going to see down on this list was actually, especially to the maps, were only done by Matt Newman. They weren't done by a map designer. So as far as we know right now, at this point in time, there's only still 2 individuals. And until that changes, we're just going to assume it's still Matt and Darren. But I just wanted to be upfront and frank with you. We haven't seen any new additions to the team, albeit Matt Newman did say that as Mechwarrior 5 personnel starts to fade off of that, they're going to be coming back to MWO. So it'll be interesting seeing who is first to join the team. Is it going to be art? Is it going to be map design? What roles are going to be filled first? They did say they did have the ability to reach out to those individuals still on Mech 5 and pick their brains and maybe use them for a short period of time. But of course, Mechwarrior 5 is full steam ahead towards that Steam and Xbox launch. And that's all we know right now. So let's go ahead and continue. First up on the list is bolt-ons. Stay on, global change. Obviously, there's a few things that I'd like to dive in, and that is one, okay, cool. It's a priority for some people that they want to be able to buy. bolt-ons and that they stay on. For those that aren't familiar, you're able to take a non-damaging weapon like a tag and knock them off of a mech. So people would do that with friendly units. This is actually looking at them fixing that, but there's going to be some small caveats to that, and that is some bolt-ons need to fall off. They had a demonstration of a mech missing its arms, but the bolt-ons still in its hand were still there. Situations like that, the bolt-ons would then fall off. There's a whole list of information here, basically crucial feedback. One of my main concerns about the bolt-ons was that if a new player was coming into the game and saw bolt-ons, they may shoot the bolt-ons thinking they would do damage to the mech, but they wouldn't, and the bolt-ons don't fall off. So would that player be able to correct their mistake? That's my main concern. They do talk about it a little bit here. It says living with the current bolt-on situation from February 16th to March 16th may frustrate some players, but look at the process we are using to drive changes to the game this year. Understand that we are often listening to a variety of conflicting opinions and doing our best to take everyone's input into account when making decisions. And again, this is going back to the big paragraph here, crucial feedback about the impact could have on gameplay. We have heard feedback and agree that some bolt-ons should fall off, specifically bolt-ons that can give players the false impressions of weapons or hitbox locations. I'm glad they actually talked about this. So we need your help to determine which bolt-ons do this. We will be posting a forum thread where players can name the critical bolt-ons and provide screenshots and bolt-ons equipped on mechs where they don't have to buy it. In most cases, one shot per bolt-on type should be significant. So this is cool. I really wish they had an internal art team member that was able to do this on their own and not have to rely on the community. But hey, this whole initiative has been community driven and community led. So I guess that's where they're leaning. And right now, I guess we have to be understandable and reasonable enough to say Matt and Darren only have a limited amount of time. Albeit what I would like to see is for them to say, hey, we have an art guy working on it. You guys don't have to worry about it. We got you. All right, next up on the list is reconnection time limit and early leaver punishment threshold change. Change of the reconnection time limit from 2 to 4 minutes to rejoin a match. This is actually pretty significant. A lot of the times people, when the game crashes, and albeit it's probably not your fault. It could be hardware, software, who knows, whatever the reason why, it doesn't really matter. You only had 2 minutes to get back into the match. Some people with clients, depending if you're using the regular client and or the Steam client, it takes longer than 2 minutes to get back into the UI, log in, have the UI refresh, and be able to click join, rejoin, and then even load back in the map. So this is a net positive. I just want to sort of point that out. There was some miscommunication earlier, and some people thought this was reversed. No, this is a good thing. And then, of course, this has changed the early leaver punishment threshold from 2 to 4. Now, what is this trying to do, and what is the early leaver punishment anyways? Well, a lot of the times, unfortunately, players just leave the match because they feel like they're going to lose the match, and then they move on to next. So this is sort of what that does is if a person does that multiple times, there's a punishment just like team damage, and of course it ramps up, so forth. Obviously, this allows people to basically reconnect to the match, and of course, please note your mech will remain in the game, so it could be destroyed by the time you return, and that's sort of a given. So they have a little bit here. Also understand that YOLOing and the purposely disconnecting from a match results in a negative experience for the rest of the players in the game. If the match isn't going your way, tough it out. It builds character, and you always have an opportunity for another kill or to rally the team for victory. Now, I do agree. It's one of those things that does suck, but I doubt you pointing that out is going to change their mind from people doing it. Let's go and talk about the next and probably the biggest thing I see in the game, and that is some of the new player experience. We have the reduced unit recruitment costs, and that, of course, is mainly for units. You can see here, 1 unit leader, old cost 50 million versus 5 million. And if you have 200 users, it'll cost you 10 million versus 1 million. And of course, this is number of member units already in unit. So if you have 200 people, it cost 10 million to bring one more person. Now it's only going to cost $1 million. Question I have is this even a concern? Is this a concern? Let me know in the description down below. Are there any units that are 200 members plus? Or even if they are, why do we have this? Is it a relic? Is it even needed? I actually don't know. I'm going to rely on you guys. What is your feedback? Is this just an archaic thing that just needs to be forgotten? And who cares if a unit has 1,000 members? Do we care? Does C-bills, does that even matter? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't really have an opinion on it. Speaking of that new player experience, this is the best thing in this patch notes, and that is increase the cadet bonus. And one of those things that early on the discussion and the community sort of rallied behind was the cadet change from tier 3 to tier 5. I think it's been overwhelmingly positive. It'd be great to hear from Darren and Matt on maybe the metrics. Has player retention of tier basically cadets gone up or gone down? Is it stayed neutral? What's going on? That's information and analytics that we as the public don't have. So we'd have to rely on you, Darren, or Matt to basically give us that. Was the change from tier 3 to tier 5 big enough to where it's measurable in analytics? It'd be great to hear back, but let's go ahead and continue on. We've got increased the cadet C-bill and added additional rewards. We will not retroactively reward the new C-bill values or items to old accounts. We will retroactively reward players who recently joined and completed the cadet bonus. Cutoff dates for retroactive are to be determined. Now, the reason I did want to read that is because I had someone who recently in chat over on Twitch, which by the way, I stream Monday through Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Come join. It's a great place, especially for you new players, over at twitch.tv/NGNGTV, link down below. But I had someone ask live, like, hey, I've only been playing for like a week or two. Are they going to be retroactively making any changes? And I said, I don't know. So, I would hope they do that, and especially if you completed the cadet challenge. If you hadn't, it doesn't really matter, and you can go do the cadet matches. But if you have done it, hopefully it gives it like a 2-week, maybe in a month, maybe even longer. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, if someone's been playing for a month or two, they should still get the bonus, in my opinion. Why not? They're still a new player in the grand scheme of things. Let's go and talk about the differences here. In the current game, when you play 25 matches, you come out with around 12.5 million C-bills, and that's it. Now, granted, you're still earning XP and so forth and so on, but that's all you earn. Now, the new change here, you can see the C-bills starts ramping up, and the total goes from 12.5 to 17.85 million. So an increase of 5.35 million C-bills. But not only that, one of the big things here is what happens over to the right. 7 days premium time, common supply caches. I feel like this needs to be explained to a new player, especially when they get that one, because if you don't know, you have to click inventory and then supply caches. You also have to understand what that is going to give the player. It'd be nice to know if the supply caches are going to get an update as well. 50 MC redeem bundle, and then we start getting into other stuff. Color, basic, orange. I think this is fantastic. Give them at least 4. We have basic colors. Again, instead of having them paid 2.5 million, I think million C-bills for them, they can just get them. I think this is fantastic. It looks like another 50. So total here is we have 50, 100, 150, 200, 200 MC, so not quite enough for mech bay, but you do notice they do get a mech bay down here, and they also get other items where they can pick up other stuff as well. So this is a good start. I think it'd be great if maybe they picked up a few other mech bays, and albeit I know that they're doing the free mech per month, I still think it would be fantastic if they did get a mech or two at the end of the cadet bonus. And you could do something simple. You can do the Hunchback 4P that I just previewed recently. You could do a heavy mech like a Marauder or a Thunderbolt or a Warhammer, something that is a solid design that hasn't really changed, and it's a great functional mech. It'd still be better than nothing. So I still feel like I'd really like to see a mech or two given to a new player in that medium to heavy category. I think that sets them up for success. And other than that, I think the basic colors is cool. Cosmetics are cool. They get a few other items. Premium time is fantastic. I think this is a great way to also benefit a player for those that come in. That's a 30% C-bill boost that you're going to get, plus the XP. If you're, they're going to be earning a lot more than 17.85 million with those things activated. So that's really cool. I mean, overall, you're talking about 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. It'd be cool to see maybe that increase to 30 days altogether. That way you're basically saying your first month is covered, And outside of that, that'll be up to your choice. So your first month is you're going to be rolling in the dough, and you know, you're getting some GSP. GSP also needs to be explained as well. They get this. What does that mean? They also may pick up some other items as far as the supply caches. It's cool to see some of these ultra rare supply caches in here, but I feel like some of these need to be revised. We all know getting you know, a letter or an item, the value there to reward isn't quite equal. So I think that would be really cool to see revised. But overall, this is a step in the right direction. And I think what we need to do as a community is continue to give PGI some feedback. Is this the perfect solution? Is this the perfect amount? I don't think so, but it's a lot better than they currently have. And I feel like what they can do is slowly ramp this up and get this a little bit better to put a new player in a situation where they have success, they're successful. But some of that comes down to understanding what they're also getting. I think we all understand premium time, but does a new player understand what that premium time does for them? Do they understand supply caches? What about MC? They're getting MC, they don't know what that is, and I don't want them to spend it and where they see bills on stuff and then regret that down the road. And I feel like that's very important for new player videos to explain these items so they don't make mistakes and then feel that later. And we all know that feeling when you make a mistake as a new player, and unfortunately it puts you in a hole, and no one likes that. So anyways, I think this is overall a great addition. Look forward to this, and I look forward to hearing the feedback from PGI and the community and improving on this. Next up, we have time of day speed set to 0 for 6 maps, plus the new default times selected. This is actually an interesting thing that they sort of chose, and I bring this up, is the changes that I was mentioning earlier. These are done by Matt Newman. He talked about this on the podcast that I had with him recently, that he is the one who did this. It wasn't a map designer. It wasn't a level designer. He did this. And basically, this sort of comes back to some experiences that we all have on the time of day shift from night to day or day to night, where there was a performance hit slightly, and then also the inadvertent negative effect of having view range with the current night vision and the thermal vision being limited. It really puts a hamper on some of the uses of different time of days. And that's been one of my biggest critiques. I didn't mind having different times. I think that's fantastic. But one of the issues I have is with the lighting conditions and the tools that we have as players. So it looks like what they did is they took the path of least resistance and said, hey, we can't adjust night vision and or thermal vision. So how about we just adjust the time of day so that doesn't happen? And maybe this is a good middle ground of compromise to where they were able to do it now instead of later. So we've got a few things. We have some notes here. They said these time of day settings were chosen for this patch based on the existing lighting. So that basically means that no lighting conditions were changed. Our choices were based on gameplay visibility first and atmosphere second. I like hearing gameplay first. Please understand these will likely be further adjusted in Q2 and Q3. I hope with a gameplay level designer. That'd be great to hear. Maybe next time we sit down with them that they have a new addition to the MWO team. I don't know. It'd be great. We hope to be able to offer more variety in the future. I'm okay with having different night or day modes on maps, obviously not being dynamic. I think if you land in the day, you should stay in the day. But if there is going to be more variety and there are going to be nighttime missions, can we please talk about thermal and nighttime vision? I would even go so far, I think we should bring predator vision back. Do it. I wish I could reach back in time and say, no, it's cool, Phil. Don't be a stickler. I think it's cool. I think it'd add value. And of course, I think we could talk about some balance options there. But anyways, let's do it. Crimson Straight received the most drastic change, so let us know what you think. We're calling it Crimson Straight Dusk. Okay. And of course, they're open to our feedback. So let's go take a look at Forest Colony here. I'm going to go ahead and blow these up all the way. And so that's Forest Colony right now. We've got Frozen City. This one's, like I said, my main concern with any of the sort of alpine snow maps is going to be that very, very bright contrast that we have on. Unfortunately, Hibernal was not on this list, but maps like that to where a lot of these whites plus the sunshine, it looks like you've got a lot of contrast here with a lot of shadows. I think we'll like that. Okay. We've got River City. And again, this is one of those maps that I think at night can be very problematic, especially in those darker colors. So this looks good. I like that. We've got Polar Highlands. This is an interesting one because I didn't really think there was as much issue, but at certain point in times, it can be really bright. Looking at you, Hibernal. So I think that's fantastic, albeit I still think a lot of us want some terrain adjustments to this map. We got Viridian Bog. I like that it's during the day. I know some people will be disappointed. And this map in particular is one of those because it's so small. The night vision and thermal wasn't as much of an issue because it is small and sightlines were a lot smaller. And then here we're talking about Crimson Strait. It's interesting that they picked this, and one of the things they talked about, which was the lighting effects that this map, with the lights up on the platform and lights throughout the city, you're still able to view. And I think this is actually really well done. This is, I think the aesthetic here is really well chosen. We'll obviously have to see how it plays. I think it'll be a lot darker underneath, but you can see here underneath the platform, it's still pretty lit up. So anyways, I think aesthetically, this will be a good mixture of lighting conditions. So what are my thoughts on this in general? I like it. I think it's a good alternative, especially if it is a compromise. I hate to use the word compromise, but I also understand Matt and Darren have a job, and if they don't have the resources, they're doing the best they can. And if you have a problem with that, totally understand. I think that's reasonable. In that regard, I would say, please, Russ, if you were out there, give Matt and Darren the resources they need as quickly as possible yesterday to be able to get this done. And I think the community deserves it. And if you put that foot forward, I think the community will as well. And I want these guys to be successful, and they're working their butts off. So let's have that happen. I think, I think that should happen. So there's that. So let's go and talk about some minor content. And this is the Mechwarrior Online Comp Series titles and badges. And again, this is for the 2020 stuff here. And then we've got Solaris Season Reset, leaderboards, Solaris Reset, and Injection. Cool. I don't play Solaris. I think Solaris has been dead since it came out. I think there are so many ideas for Solaris in the future. But I also understand there are some people that currently enjoy the game. It's a game mode. It's one thing you can hop in there. But I feel like there's some possibilities that this game mode could be redone using the systems that are there, and it could be successful. I think it was a mistake doing 1v1 and 2v2 when Mechwarrior Online is a team game. And I think if they did a team system in Solaris and make it Solaris themed, I think it could work. But I think that's going to take time and effort, and I don't know if that's going to be one of their priorities, and I don't know if that's going to be a community priority right now. But it'll be a great conversation, and I hope to have that later on with you guys. And then we do have one minor bug fix, and this is Light Gauss Rifle, min heat penalty level 3, changed to min heat penalty level 4. What this does, Matt said it doesn't really do anything, it doesn't really affect anything, but just that it's there. So that's it, your patch notes for February of 2021. I'll be honest, it's exciting to be able to talk about stuff. We've not had anything to really grab onto, and albeit this patch is light, I'm okay with that. I hope they ramp up in March. I hope we see those weapon changes, about shift up some agility changes. Let's talk about rescale. Let's talk about quirks. Let's talk about heat. Let's talk about maps. Let's talk about game mode. Let's talk about faction play. Let's talk about Solaris. I want to have this discussion and get the community involved. I want Darren and Matt to feel comfortable enough to where they can have that open communication. And albeit, this is a good step in the right direction. This is a patch. It's happening. It's not vaporware. It's coming this Tuesday. We're going to also possibly get a patch next month. Until we get more details, let's just assume it's going to happen based off of this. So it's exciting to be able to talk. It's exciting to be able to talk about content again. Let's keep the discussion moving forward. And of course, positive is the right way to approach this thing, right? Positive changes are happening, and I hope that communication between Darren, Matt, and the community stays open, and they continue to do exactly what they said they're going to do, which they have been. So I applaud you guys for doing that, and let's see if we can get this stuff rolling a little bit quicker, a little bit more grandiose. And I think the way to do that is with Russ giving them the resources that they need to be successful, because we want this to be successful. We want these changes. We want these additions. And I think it's fantastic that we're finally to a patch where we see some tangible things being changed. So overall, I think this is going to be a great patch. I don't think it's going to be game changing. I think the game changing stuff is going to start ramping up if we see weapons, agility, and so forth and so on. So anyways, guys, this is your patch review for February of 2021. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And of course, I asked some questions earlier. Leave the comments down below. How many of you guys didn't even know about this patch? How many of you guys are looking forward to this? Of course, will you be coming back for this? Have you stepped away? What are your thoughts on the overall direction this is going? And let me know in the comments down below. If you found this video, of course, useful, as I mentioned, click that like button. That way the algorithm does its magic and it shows it to more people. If you like what I do, consider, again, catching it live Monday through Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. on Twitch. Link will be in the description. Join us on Discord, where we engage in conversation all day, whether about MWO or food or exercise or all the things above game discussion to tabletop, all the stuff, it happens on Discord. And of course, if you guys want to take it to the next level, consider becoming a patron. It's a great platform for content creators like myself. And if I don't ask you for support, how the heck would you know? So again, I'm asking you for your support. If you have the ability and you appreciate what I do, if you like what I do as a content creator, consider becoming a patron today, whether tier 1 all the way to tier 4, whatever you can do, I appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you for considering it. And for those that are my patrons, thank you guys so much for all the support. Look forward to 2021 and what we're going to be working on together. Guys, that's going to be it. I'll see you on the next. Until next time, Mech Warriors. Peace.